For whatever reason, America's health officials haven't seemed publicly interested in answering a crucial question: how many illnesses and deaths can be attributed to COVID versus the vaccines or some combination? Today, we look at shocking and graphic evidence that independent researchers are trying to make sense of in the absence of helpful guidance from the usual authorities. A mysterious fibrous material being discovered in the veins and arteries of the dead. A caution, some of the images in our report are graphic.
These vials are basically samples of the white fibrous material that I've been discussing.
Richard Hirschman is an embalmer who's been investigating disturbing evidence left by the dead. Mysterious clots appearing in cadavers around the world.
Well, the very first photograph I took was in September of 2021.
What does that first photograph show?
That first photograph shows a very, very large white fibrous-looking clot that was literally about the length of the individual's leg itself. Clots are one of the things we run into sometimes in embalming. We're used to that, but these clots are totally different.
Oh no, there it is.
To his surprise, the strange, long, fibrous clots started turning up in more and more bodies that Hirschman examined, all of them after COVID and the vaccines hit the market.
What types of people are you getting these clots from?
Yes, that's a great question, because the majority of the ones that I'm seeing a lot of these clots in are older people. But it doesn't mean it's exclusive to the older people. The first person that I took a picture of was only in their mid-50s. So it's not necessarily grandma or grandpa. And I've seen them in people as young as 20. So it seems it's worse in the elderly, but it's not exclusive to the elderly.
Hirschman wasn't alone in his observations. He began connecting with embalmers and funeral directors in Canada, the UK, and New Zealand who were reporting the same disturbing phenomenon.
So it's 6 inches, 16 centimeters.
White fibrous clots that have been supplied by embalmers, and they're seeing these all around the world.
These long strands coming out of the blood vessels. These have been taken directly from the circulatory system.
Can you estimate about how many other embalmers or people in the same line of work you've personally had contact with who've described something similar?
Everyone that I've had personal contact with are seeing them.
Why is this so remarkable, in your opinion?
The most remarkable thing, that the blood has changed. That I can see. The most alarming is this white fibrous structure. This material that looks, it's hard to describe. It almost looks like calamari or like spaghetti, or some kind of a. It's not blood. It's not blood. All of the people that I've spoken to, and I know about 4 of them that have over 50 years of experience, had never seen these things until recently.
Though some embalmers say they tried reporting to their official professional bodies, they say nobody in government or public health seem interested in tracking and getting to the bottom of it. Former Air Force Major Tom Haviland became interested and started attempting to document and quantify the cases.
Tell me a little bit more about the information you've tried to gather and what you learned.
So I decided to do a survey. It started out to be a nationwide survey in the United States, and I expanded it to Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and asked basic questions. We asked embalmers, what are you seeing? Are you seeing these white fibrous clots? When did you start seeing them? Where are you finding them on the body? And then how much and what percentage of your corpses are you seeing these white fibrous clots?
Haviland surveyed over 200 embalmers. He says 73% reported seeing the white fibrous clots. They reported seeing them in about 1 in 5 corpses in 2023. None reported seeing any such anomalies prior to the COVID pandemic and the beginning of mass vaccinations.
Have you ever been able to learn whether there are any governments or any public information bodies that are collecting this data and interested in trying to figure out what it means?
I submitted my results to the FDA for their vaccine and related biological products advisory committee meeting, and I've heard nothing, Sharyl, from the FDA about it since then.
What kind of pushback are you getting or have you gotten, and how would you answer the criticisms?
Yes, some of the criticisms, people think that what I have done is unethical, that I shouldn't share the stuff that I see in this embalming room. And on one hand, I sometimes see their point, because what happens in here is kind of private and it's personal. However, at the same time, if I'm seeing something that may be affecting a whole lot of people and humanity might be at stake, by saying nothing is unethical. It's eating at my soul to leave it quiet, because many, many lives may be at stake. And no matter what's causing this, whether it's the virus, the vaccine, or whether it's, Cheerios or, a bad box of Cracker Jacks, something has to be found out what's causing it, because it's obviously a change in the blood.
The FDA did offer a response to full measure, stating, quote, "The FDA and the Centers for Disease Control place a high priority on vaccine safety and are committed to our vaccine safety monitoring program. The FDA has not identified any safety signals for fibrous blood clots with COVID-19 vaccines." They also stated that since the observations were made on cadavers, quote, "it falls outside of the FDA's regulatory purview."